Hello, Abnormal Investigations. I have another encounter for you to share today. He says, "Hi, my name is Daniel, and his encounter took place during Easter weekend. It should be known that he is 19 years old, and he is no stranger whenever it comes to hanging out in the woods." Excuse me. This happened in the Ozarks up in Missouri. Whenever we go to visit my grandma, would always tell us about how she would hear eerie noises coming from the forest at night. We got there late afternoon Saturday, and me and my dad shared a few drinks before we all headed off to bed to get ready for the egg hunt my grandma had for my niece and nephew. Around 1 in the morning, I woke up due to the call of nature and headed downstairs. After I went to the downstairs bathroom and finished what I had made my way back to the bathroom before stopping as I heard my dad call out for me. I went to where I heard it coming from and noticed it sounded like he was outside. So I began to make my way to the front door before noticing something that had stopped me dead in my tracks. There on the couch was my dad, who had a few empty beer bottles on the floor around him but was very much passed out, and that's when I heard it. It was my dad's voice, calling out my name, yet it sounded off somehow. It sounded like someone recorded my dad's voice and played it over a voice modifier, or just sounded so weird, and it wasn't coming from the right outside the door. I slowly approached the front door before stopping and went to go take a peek out the window, when all I saw was it was pitch black out. I could see the faint outline of a figure standing at the door. At first I thought it was a man, but then I saw that this thing had horns like some kind of demon. I'm not sure how, but I swear this thing knew I was looking at it, because as soon as I got a good look at it, it turned and stared at me with these piercing red eyes, before saying something that chilled me to the bone. "Daniel, please let me in." At that point, I ran throughout the house, making sure every single window and door was locked tight, and surprisingly, no one heard a single thing. Needless to say, I did not get a wink of sleep that night. Easter came and went, although the whole family, I felt as if I was being watched. And as if we left my grandma's house there in the tree line, I saw it. It stood about 7 feet tall, from what I could guess, and was covered in this messy black hair. It was built like a man, and I'm sure it could see its feet, and if I could have seen its feet, it would have had hooves. The head reminded me of a goat, and the way it stared at me with these piercing red eyes before saying something that chilled me to the bone. "Daniel, please let me in." At that point, ran throughout the house, making sure every window and door was blocked, was all racing through my head. I could not believe what I was looking at. This thing was standing in the woods now, staring at me, that had scared me the night before. It was like a body of a man with long black hair, tangles and knotted, with grass stuck all throughout it, and the head of a goat. As my mother and father were driving away, I was watching out the window, staring at it as it stared at me. It raised its hand and waved, as if it was waving goodbye to me. It turned and walked back into the woods. I kept on at my mom to please call Grandma and check on her when we got home. When Mom called and checked on Grandma, she said to my mom, "Everything's the same as it always is. Everything's fine." But deep down I know this thing has to be bothering my grandma. I mean, it called my name out and was wanting me to let it in. A long time ago, guys, back when my mom was a kid, she had told me this story that they had went to this bridge. Now, this bridge is supposed to be a really, really bad place to go. It's on the Oklahoma haunted places. Well, They were fishing down below that bridge one night. It was my mom with her dad and her mom and then her uncle. Whenever they heard behind them something large that was walking, and it sounded like it had hooves. They heard it walk up through the woods, up to the road that was up above them. Now you have to picture this old bridge was a suspension bridge. And this old suspension bridge, the moon was on the opposite side of it. And you could see the railing and everything, and it had the old railroad ties that went across it where you had to keep your tires on both sides to be able to go across the bridge. They heard the click clock of a creature, and when they looked up with the moonlight behind that bridge peering through it, they could see a creature walking across the bridge that had horns like a goat, and the head that appeared to be like a goat from the shadows, and it walked completely across the bridge of the click clock. After it crossed the bridge, they decided to leave and went and got in their vehicle and left. I've thought about trying to find this bridge for you guys and show you what it looks like. That may be the next place that me and Sarah go to see if we can locate this old place and show you all how it looks today. I'm sure it's even creepier as they've closed that bridge for years now, so it would even be more remote now. We may try to find that if y'all would like to see it. What do you think? Would you like to see this place? Until next time, guys, keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner. And we'll see you on the next one.